Good day to you. You know, every time you go to watch a television show, every time you look at a web page, every time you listen to a song on the radio, every time you pick up a newspaper, if you ever do that, you're joining together with thousands and perhaps millions of other people doing the same thing, and you become an audience. And yet, an audience is an artificial construct at the same time. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the second half of our discussion of audiences, and it's going to be relevant today, this subject, as you apply it to your RSC posts. Now, I said that the audience is artificial. What did I mean by that? When you talk about an audience of females 18 to 35 years old, what you are doing is you're reducing everybody to two components, their age and their gender, and you're not knowing much more about that. And so it's an artificial construct. You're really not knowing the individual person when you're studying the audience. You're looking at an amalgamation of traits that come together into this artificial thing called an audience. And so, in some ways, what we're studying is flawed to begin with. And yet, the audience is at the core of research into global media and mass media. The audience, in fact, when it's research, is what is driving the finances of the industry, because based on the audience side, that the audience size, that's what media producers use to decide how much they're going to charge for advertising. If you're the number one radio station in 18 to 35-year-old females, then you're going to be able to charge a local hair salon more money for an advertisement than another radio station with a different demographic. And that word demographic, also meaning facts of the audience, is the way the audiences are mostly studied. Audiences are mostly studied as a quantitative enterprise. Audiences are mostly talked about in terms of numbers. And those numbers that are most commonly produced are the ratings, the Nielsen ratings. You know about those, right? The top 10 TV shows or the top 10 streamed films. Yeah, Netflix is also studying social media and studying streaming media, the top 10 social media apps. That's also studied by Nielsen. Those are numbers that are produced, top 10, and in the demographics of 18 to 35 or 35 to 54, or males or females or people with an income above this or people with an income below that. It's all numbers. And yet there's another side to studying the audience, and that is the rhetorical perspective, which I introduced at the end of the chapter but didn't get a chance to go into because I had to cut that chapter off when I posted it to D2L because it had old information after that. The rhetorical perspective is how you analyze the audience and try to determine the meaning of why it is they're doing what they're doing with their time on media. For example, you can say that a person who's growing up in Sweden is really eager to learn the English language, and they can do that on their television set because they have a black bar at the bottom of every Swedish TV program that lists the Swedish translation of that show. And yet the show that's being aired is in its native language. It could be English, or it could be French or German, and then the Swedish is at the bottom. So the meaning of a person using a TV set in Sweden could be interpreted as they're using it to improve their language skills. So this is the basis by which you're going to be making your RSC post today. You're going to be making an RSC post where you're bringing in this information on the audience to the two media that are described in the two RSC columns that you choose. I wish you luck with that. Have a great day.